On the Kuwaiti-Saudi border are lighting up the sky with artillery and rocket attacks. NBC's Arthur Kent is one of the journalists assigned to the network combat pools.
U.S. Army rocket crews call this steel rain. The Army's multiple launch rocket system hammers down on Iraqi military positions up to 30 kilometers across Saudi Arabia's northern border. Immediately after firing their rockets, these launch vehicles of the 1st Cavalry Division quickly withdraw to reload and strike again. A 12-rocket salvo from just one of these launch vehicles can lay waste to an area the size of 2 football fields. The rocket crews try to reload as quickly as possible to counter any return Iraqi artillery fire. But so far, the Iraqi gunners have managed to reach only Allied positions further to the front.
We're designed to hit deep targets to help prepare the battlefield for the maneuver to come in.
Sergeant Bobby Witten and his crew man Launcher 1-1 of Alpha Battery. Do you feel like the pitch of the battle is changing now and there's more focus on you?
We started getting involved, and it's like, well, this is one step closer to us going home because we're in this war now. So.
Their launchers reloaded, Alpha Battery returns to the battlefield, heading north. Onboard computers allow for wind speed and direction, even air temperature, in taking aim at Iraqi targets. Then, the order to fire. Once again, the sky fills with steel rain. This attack lasts just 50 seconds. 72 rockets with 644 bomblets per rocket will soon pour down on Iraqi troops and equipment. After suffering the air war, Saddam Hussein's troops now feel something of what a ground war could bring them. Arthur Kent, NBC News in northeastern Saudi Arabia.
All kinds of things going on right here. We have a scud alert in Saudi Arabia. We want to go now, however, to Moscow, where we have in Moscow Vitaly Ignatенko talking about Tariq Aziz and his positive response.
Fixed time frame for after the withdrawal of 2/3 of all the forces, Iraqi forces from Kuwait.
Будут прекращены действия экономических санкций, предусмотренных ООН.
The economic sanctions envisaged by the UN will cease to apply to
После
Iraq.
окончания вывода войск из
Fifth,
Кувейта,
after the end of the withdrawal of Iraqi forces from Kuwait,
тем самым будет исчерпаны причины, по которым
thus the
были
causes
приняты
will
резолюции
cease to exist,
Совета Безопасности.
the causes for the corresponding resolutions of the Security Council.
Резолюции
So thus those resolutions
прекратят свои действия.
would cease to be in effect. Sixth,
Сразу же после
right
прекращения
after
огня
the ceasefire,
происходит освобождение всех военнопленных.
all the POWs will be immediately released.
Седьмое.
Seventh,
За отводом войск
the withdrawal of forces
наблюдают страны, не участвующие
would be
в
monitored
конфликте,
by the countries not directly involved in
по
the
поручению
conflict,
Совета Безопасности
being so
Организации
entrusted by the Security
Объединенных
Council
Наций.
of the United Nations.
И последнее,
And
что
last
работа по уточнению формулировок
the
и
work
конкретных
on
деталей
determining
продолжается.
the details and specifications
Окончательные результаты этой
continues.
работы
The
будут
final
сообщены
outcome of this
сегодня,
work will be made public
22
today,
февраля,
on the 22nd
Совета
of February,
Безопасности,
till the
государствам, членам Совета Безопасности
countries
и
members,
генеральным
present members of the Security Council of the United Nations.
We're back here in Saudi Arabia now, where we have what we believe is a scud alert underway. The sirens are going off at the big air base near here. We want to go now, however, to Washington and NBC's Fred Francis at the Pentagon, who has been listening to that announcement by Vitaly Ignatенko, who is a spokesman for Mikhail Gorbachev after the meeting with Iraqi Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz. An offer of a phased withdrawal. Fred, is that going to be good enough?
No, it's not, Tom. What they have been talking about here at the Pentagon, and talking quite seriously, is that Iraqi soldiers will have to leave their equipment in place, leave their tanks in place, their artillery and all their APCs, and move north. And that was the back channel stuff that has been going to the Soviet Union, that a phased withdrawal is in effect a ceasefire. And a ceasefire is advantageous to Saddam Hussein. I must tell you, Tom, there's a high confidence here based on intelligence that is gathered from radio intercepts and from POWs that if the president does have to order ground forces into Iraq and Kuwait, it would be a very short war. Today, Defense Secretary Cheney signaled that the ground war could now quickly follow Saddam's refusal to withdraw.
Well, we have no choice but to proceed as planned with the military campaign to achieve our objective, to liberate Kuwait.
And the decision to send American tanks into Iraq is in part based on the certainty that almost 50% of Iraq's tanks and artillery pieces have been destroyed. And the relentless bombing has produced strong indications that Iraqi morale is terrible. While more than 2,000 Iraqis have surrendered to coalition forces, more than 5,000 others who have been without food and water are fleeing north to Iraq.
I think it's safe to say once again that we're getting growing evidence that he's a very unhappy lot. In terms of water, we have some reports, for example, that sometimes it goes as much as 4 days without potable water, that sometimes are provided salt water to drink. Episodal information like this, it leads us to believe that perhaps there is a large number that's going north.
U.S. intelligence radio intercepts enforce the belief that there will be wholesale surrenders. This Iraqi soldier is crying on a military transmission. A man comforts him, saying, "Don't cry, my son, don't cry. God will be on our side." The soldier asks, "How will it be okay?" and is told again, "Don't cry." No one is predicting that all of Saddam's soldiers will quit early, but the most optimistic Pentagon insiders, Tom, say that the heavy fighting will end in 3 days, while the most cautious senior officers think it will last 10 days with light casualties. Tom?
All right, thank you very much, Fred Francis. Just to bring you up to date on the situation now, Vitaly Ignatенko, who is the spokesman for Mikhail Gorbachev, the president of the Soviet Union, said tonight that the Iraqi Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz has offered a phased withdrawal, but still with conditions attached. Here in Saudi Arabia, we have the sirens for a Scud alert, and we believe that we just heard 2 explosive sounds. It could be the firing of Patriot missiles. We'll have to wait and see. Certainly, we have not received an all clear yet. The situation here remains, as I said just a few moments ago, an alert sounded, no all clear, 2 distant booms that could have been the firing of those Patriot missiles that have been so successful in intercepting the Scuds. Earlier today, other Scuds were fired up north in Saudi Arabia, closer to the border. They too were intercepted. They did rain down some debris, but it caused no damage whatsoever. That was at about 5 o'clock this afternoon, Saudi Arabia time. That would have been about 9.5 hours ago now. So Saddam Hussein, after his defiant speech today, saying that he's prepared for the mother of all battles, that he will not surrender, continues to fire the Scuds into the Saudi Arabia theater. No missiles launched tonight, so far as we know, against Israel, and we don't know as yet where these Scuds may have launched here. The Air Force was fairly confident, the Allied Air Force, that it had, in fact, knocked out most of the Scud launchers, although they did concede that they may not have gotten them all. So Saddam Hussein still has some resources left. These Scuds, we were told earlier today, may have been launched from inside the territory of Iraq, not from someplace in Kuwait. And if they are launching them, they may be doing them on their own, because there's also some belief that there is no longer command and control to the Iraqi Scud launchers. Still no clear? Oh, well, we await this. We'll tell you. We'll be back with more from Saudi Arabia right after this.